Have you ever wondered if doing less could actually make you happier as you get older? What if I told you that becoming strategically lazier could be what you need for a fulfilling retirement? That the relentless productivity that once defined your worth might now be preventing your peace? It may sound strange, but the truth is sometimes the smartest thing you can do for your health, peace of mind, and relationships is to be a little lazier. The great Stoic philosopher Seneca once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Yet what constitutes waste changes profoundly as we age." Certain forms of so-called laziness aren't wasteful at all, but rather the very keys to unlocking a happier retirement? I'm Vernon, and today I'm going to reveal what those 7 areas are, and why giving yourself permission to be lazy about them can help you feel calmer, stronger, and more fulfilled as you age. Stay with me, especially for our number 4 insight about abandoned goals. It might fundamentally shift how you view your remaining years. And by the end of our journey together today, I hope to offer you permission to release burdens you may have been unnecessarily carrying into your retirement. Before we dive in, take a moment to share this video with someone who's earned the right to slow down, and subscribe to the channel for more insights that honor the wisdom of aging well. So, let's begin our exploration of 7 things where you might benefit from being a bit lazier for a happier retirement. Number 1. Releasing the burden of others' expectations. The tyranny of others' expectations often follows us into retirement like a shadow we didn't realize we were still carrying. My neighbor Eleanor, a retired professor, recently confided that she still feels the need to uphold her image as the neighborhood's most impeccable gardener, an activity that once sparked joy but now feels more like an obligation. What's striking is that this pressure rarely comes from others directly. Instead, it stems from deeply ingrained roles we've performed for decades, roles we no longer need to inhabit, yet find hard to shed. Even after leaving the workforce, many continue to live as if they're still being evaluated, praised, or measured by outdated standards. Over time, this quiet performance becomes a hidden emotional burden. And the irony? No one is asking us to keep performing except ourselves. The ancient Stoics recognized this struggle. Epictetus advised, "Make it your goal to care little what others think of you." That timeless wisdom now has scientific backing. A long-term study from the University of Michigan found that retirees who valued internal satisfaction over external validation experienced a 42% increase in overall well-being. Being lazier about others' opinions doesn't mean being selfish or indifferent. It means finally granting yourself permission to live by your own values. After all, retirement is not about proving yourself. It's about knowing yourself. Try this. Review your calendar for the past week. Is there one commitment you accepted just to maintain an image? See what happens if you gently release it. Or ask yourself, would I still do this if no one noticed? Because retirement isn't a performance. It's a quiet return to what truly matters. And when you stop living for applause, you may finally hear the sound of your own peace. Number 2. Finding peace in imperfection. As the ancient Taoist philosopher Lao Tzu once said, "When you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you." It's a truth that resonates more deeply as we grow older. What once felt like ambition can quietly harden into pressure, and perfection, while admirable in moderation, can become a silent thief of joy in our later years. This idea isn't new. Eastern traditions have long celebrated the imperfect and the incomplete. The Japanese aesthetic of wabi-sabi, for instance, finds quiet beauty in what is weathered, asymmetrical, and fleeting. Modern science now echoes this wisdom. A study in the Journal of Happiness Studies found that older adults who embraced imperfection reported lower anxiety and greater life satisfaction. I'm reminded of my sister Catherine, a retired accountant known for her precision, who carried that same meticulous mindset into her new hobbies of watercolor, painting, and pottery. But over time, she began to realize it was draining the joy from what was meant to be played. One afternoon, she quietly admitted that she had been making herself miserable, until it finally dawned on her that in retirement, imperfection wasn't a flaw to be corrected, but an invitation to be embraced. And with that shift, something beautiful happened. She began to laugh at lopsided bowls and watery brushstrokes. Her work became more expressive, and so did she. There's a quiet freedom in letting go of unrealistic standards. Joy often lives not in flawless execution, but in spontaneity, in texture, not in precision. After all, the moments we cherish most, meals with loved ones, a walk in the rain, an off-key song, are rarely perfect. They're real. Being lazier about perfection doesn't mean lowering your standards. It means freeing yourself from the exhausting illusion that only flawlessness is worthy. Here's something to try. Choose one task this week: gardening, cooking, crafting, even tidying up, and let go of the need to get it exactly right. Let yourself stop at good enough. Savor the ease that follows, or better yet, deliberately leave one detail delightfully undone. What's one area where letting go of perfection brought you peace or unexpected joy? Share your story, or simply comment imperfection to help someone else feel seen. Number 3. The liberation of technological moderation. We've witnessed a remarkable evolution in our lifetimes, from rotary phones to smartphones, from encyclopedias to Google. While these advances have made life more convenient in many ways, the pressure to keep up with every new development can become overwhelming, especially in retirement. Technology has become a double-edged sword, a source of empowerment, but also of exhaustion. This relentless pace often leaves older adults feeling either left behind or stretched too thin. Somewhere along the way, staying updated became synonymous with staying relevant, even when the effort to keep up causes more stress than satisfaction. But true wisdom in this stage of life may not lie in mastering every tool, but in discerning which ones genuinely serve us. My friend Thomas, a retired engineer who once took pride in his tech fluency, recently shared how his relationship with technology has changed. After years of trying to stay current with every app his grandchildren mentioned, he realized the constant learning curve was draining him more than it was helping. So he made a conscious shift. He kept what enriched his life: video calls, online banking, and let the rest go. The result? A quieter mind and more meaningful days. The Harvard study of adult development, one of the longest running on aging, shows that meaningful connection, not tech savvy, best predicts well-being later in life. The takeaway: don't reject technology, but use it mindfully to support what truly matters. If you've been feeling weighed down by digital clutter, try a tech fast for 48 hours. Step away from one non-essential app or device and see how it changes your sense of calm and clarity. You may find that what you thought was indispensable is actually expendable. Before we continue our journey through these gentle invitations to be strategically lazy, let's quickly revisit where we've been. We've talked about loosening the grip of others' expectations, embracing imperfection, and now simplifying our digital lives. Each is a step toward living with less pressure and more presence. So ask yourself, which technologies genuinely enhance your retirement, and which ones are just noise? The most meaningful upgrades in life rarely come from new software, but from softer, wiser choices. Number 4, the courage to abandon outdated goals. Sometimes the weight we carry into retirement isn't physical. It's the quiet burden of outdated goals. Now we arrive at perhaps the most profound insight I promised earlier: the liberation that comes from abandoning outdated goals. Many of us carry ambitions from earlier decades that no longer align with our current values or circumstances, yet we cling to them out of habit or fear. Dr. Laura Carstensen, director of Stanford University's Center on Longevity, calls this the paradox of aging. As our time horizon shortens, we become more selective about how we spend our precious remaining time. And this growing selectivity isn't laziness. It's a reflection of deeper wisdom. Many of these old ambitions linger unexamined. They occupy space in our minds, stir guilt in our hearts, and subtly divert our energy from joys that are more aligned with who we are now, not who we once were. These goals were born in a different season of life, shaped by identities we've already evolved beyond. I experienced this firsthand. For decades, I clung to the goal of writing a detailed history of New England architecture. Research, notes, interviews, all waiting. But at 68, I finally asked myself, would this bring more joy than an afternoon in the garden or laughter with my grandkids? The answer came quickly and brought a surprising sense of peace. The philosopher William James once wrote, "The art of being wise is the art of knowing what to overlook." In retirement, that becomes one of our greatest superpowers, the ability to discern what still deserves our energy and what we can now release with gratitude for how it once inspired us. You might try this. Make a short list of 3 lingering goals or projects that still tug at you. Then ask honestly, do they still bring joy? Or are they simply habits of identity? Choose one to consciously retire from. You might even write it a thank you note and let it go. The freedom that follows may surprise you. Remember, letting go isn't giving up. It's creating space for what matters most in this season of life. If this message resonates with you, hit the like button to help others discover the quiet power of release. Number 5. The art of selective relationships. My colleague Harriet, a retired teacher of 5 years, once reflected that during her early retirement, she struggled with guilt whenever she declined social invitations. Out of a long-held habit, she continued saying yes to nearly everything until she realized, after 2 years, that she had the right to be more intentional about how and with whom she spent her time. Our social circles naturally evolve throughout our lives, yet many of us carry an unspoken obligation to maintain every relationship, even when it no longer aligns with who we are now. Retirement offers a rare and precious opportunity to pause and recalibrate our relational priorities. There's quiet courage in stepping back from connections that once made sense but no longer bring vitality. It's not about judgment, it's about emotional stewardship. Just like financial resources, our emotional energy is finite and must be spent wisely. A study published in the Journal of Gerontology found that older adults with fewer but deeper social connections reported significantly greater emotional well-being than those with broader but more superficial networks. A helpful strategy is to keep a simple connection journal. For 1 week, note how you feel after each interaction. Energized or drained, light or heavy. Then, consider setting one small boundary this month, such as declining an invitation that feels more like duty than joy. You might also experiment with proactively nurturing one meaningful connection, a call, a letter, a walk. In doing so, you're not reducing your social life, you're refining it. Releasing the pressure to attend every social event doesn't mean closing yourself off, it means honoring the connections that truly matter. It's choosing to spend time where you're seen and valued, rather than stretching yourself thin out of habit or guilt. True connection thrives on authenticity, not obligation. Number 6. Embracing simplified pleasures. One of retirement's quietest, yet most profound gifts is the chance to rediscover the deep satisfaction found in life's simplest pleasures if we allow ourselves to pause and receive them. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." His timeless wisdom resonates even more today. In a world that constantly urges us to strive, accumulate, and impress. Yet, as we step into this new season of life, a gentler truth begins to surface. Happiness often hides in the ordinary, not the extravagant. Modern research in positive psychology echoes this insight. A Cornell study found that lasting happiness often comes not from what we buy, but from simple, repeated experiences, like walks in nature, shared laughter, or quiet routines. These moments ask little, yet give so much. I think of my friend David, a former corporate executive who once thrived on high stimulation and big plans. After retiring, he packed his days with grand adventures and ambitious hobbies, believing that was the key to fulfillment. But over time, he felt more drained than satisfied. It wasn't until he slowed down, reading in his garden with his dog, enjoying unhurried coffee with old friends, that he felt truly at peace. He let go of trying to make retirement look impressive, and that's when it finally felt like his own. This shift toward intentional simplicity isn't about giving up. It's about giving in to what actually nourishes you. It's about being lazier, not in effort, but in expectation, releasing the pressure to constantly do more, and instead giving yourself permission to enjoy what's already here. You can start small. Let go of one high-effort activity you've been doing out of habit or social pressure, and replace it with something that truly brings you peace. Or begin a simple joys journal each day. Jot down one quiet moment that makes you feel deeply at ease. What's one simple joy that has surprised you with its meaning in this season of life? Leave your story in the comments to let others know they're not alone in this shift, and send this video to someone who might need the reminder that peace often lives in the quietest places. Number 7. Freedom from constant self-improvement. Our final thing for consideration touches on something deeply ingrained in many of us: the drive for constant self-improvement. While personal growth remains important throughout life, retirement offers a unique opportunity to embrace and appreciate who we have already become. Research in gerontology shows that self-acceptance, constant self-improvement, plays a growing role in our well-being as we age. A long-term study from UC Berkeley found that older adults with higher self-acceptance experienced better emotional regulation, less stress, and deeper relationships. Yet for many, the idea of slowing down self-improvement feels almost like giving up. We've spent decades being told that better is the goal, and it can feel counterintuitive, even uncomfortable, to simply be. But perhaps the deeper growth at this stage isn't about adding more, but learning to see the value in what's already there. My own journey with this principle has been revealing. After decades of reading self-help books and attending personal development seminars, I found myself, at 70, still creating improvement plans and setting ambitious personal growth goals. One evening, my wife gently asked me when I would finally decide that I was enough, just as I am. Easing the grip on constant self-improvement doesn't mean giving up on growth. Instead, it's about shifting the why behind it, from self-criticism to self-respect. After decades of learning, building, and becoming, perhaps the next evolution is simply learning to appreciate who we already are. Growth at this stage isn't about fixing, it's about honoring. To practice this, you might begin each day by writing down one quality you admire in yourself, not one to improve, but simply to acknowledge. Or spend a week without setting any new goals, just noticing how it feels to be in your life without needing to fix it. Because in the quiet after striving, we may finally hear the truth we've long overlooked, that our worth was never something to be earned, it was something to be remembered. And sometimes, the most radical form of growth is the grace to be fully at peace with who we already are. Conclusion. We've explored 7 areas where being strategically lazier might lead to greater happiness in retirement: releasing others' expectations, embracing imperfection, practicing technological moderation, abandoning outdated goals, cultivating selective relationships, savoring simple pleasures, and finding peace in self-acceptance. Each represents a burden we can consciously set down, not out of resignation or defeat, but out of the hard-won wisdom that comes from decades of living. Each offers us the opportunity to relocate our finite energy toward what brings genuine fulfillment rather than fleeting accomplishment. As the poet Mary Oliver asked in her famous poem, "The Summer Day," "Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?" In retirement, this question takes on new urgency and new meaning. Perhaps the answer lies not in doing more, but in doing less, with greater presence, intention, and joy. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Which of these 7 areas speaks most directly to your retirement journey? If you found value in today's reflection, share it with someone who might benefit. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notification for more reflections that honor the quiet wisdom of aging well. See you next time with more quiet lessons to help your journey through aging become not just lighter, but wiser and more meaningful.